Most people don't realize it, but the biggest war of your life is happening inside your own mind, not outside, not in your bank account, not in your relationship, inside you. Every single day, there are two versions of you fighting quietly in the dark. One version wants comfort. The other wants greatness. One says, sleep a little more. The other whispers, your future is watching. And slowly, without noticing, people become addicted to their weaker self because comfort feels safe. Distraction feels safe. Scrolling feels safe. Avoiding pain feels safe. But you know what else feels safe? A cage. And the terrifying part is, most people decorate their cage so beautifully, they stop trying to escape. They laugh online, post confidence quotes, pretend they're happy. But deep inside, they feel disconnected from themselves. Because your soul knows when you're wasting your potential. That feeling at 2 a.m. when suddenly everything becomes quiet, that's not sadness.
That's awareness visiting you. For a few seconds, the noise disappears, and you finally meet the person you've been avoiding. Yourself. That's why people fear silence now. Because silence exposes reality. The moment the music stops, the overthinking starts. The regrets appear. The memories return. And suddenly, all the emotions you buried under entertainment start crawling back to the surface. People think discipline is hard. No. Meeting yourself is hard. Looking honestly at your own life is hard. Realizing you became lazy, distracted, emotionally dependent, weak-minded. That hurts. But pressure creates depth. Loneliness creates awareness. Failure creates identity. That's why some people glow differently after suffering. Because pain removed the fake version of them. See, the world teaches you how to impress others, but almost nobody teaches you how to control yourself. That's the real power. Self-control. The ability to stay calm when emotions burn. The ability to stay focused while chaos surrounds you. The ability to walk away from temporary pleasure for a permanent future. That's rare now. People sacrifice their future for dopamine. 5 more minutes scrolling. 1 more distraction. 1 more excuse. And years disappear quietly. The scary thing about self-destruction is, it rarely looks dangerous in the beginning. It looks harmless. Until one day you wake up and realize you became average without noticing. And average doesn't happen overnight. It happens through repetition, repeated excuses, repeated delays, repeated comfort. Your habits are building your future secretly. Every day, even when you don't feel it. That's why successful people obsess over small actions, because they understand something most people ignore. Your life is not created by motivation. It's created by patterns. If your pattern is distraction, your future becomes confusion. If your pattern is discipline, your future becomes freedom. Simple, but difficult. Because discipline feels painful at first, and pleasure feels rewarding instantly. That's why weak habits are addictive. Your brain loves easy rewards, but easy rewards create hard lives, and hard choices create easy lives. Read that again in your mind. Most people want confidence without struggle. Impossible. Confidence is built through evidence. You become confident after surviving things you thought would destroy you. That's why pain changes people. After enough betrayal, you stop begging for attention. After enough loneliness, you stop fearing isolation.
After enough failure, you stop fearing judgment. Life hardens your spirit slowly, not to make you cold, but to make you stronger than your emotions. Because emotions are temporary, but decisions create destiny. Think about how many lives were destroyed by temporary feelings. One impulsive decision, one emotional reaction, one moment of weakness, and everything changes. That's why emotional mastery is becoming a superpower now, especially in a world designed to control your attention. Social media profits from your distraction. Algorithms study your weakness. Every notification is fighting for your focus. Your attention is currency now. And most people are broke mentally. They cannot sit alone for 10 minutes without opening an app. Their brain constantly needs stimulation. Music, videos, messages, validation. Because silence forces self-reflection. And self-reflection can be terrifying, especially when you know you're capable of more. Deep inside, most people already know what's ruining their life. They know. But awareness without action becomes self-torture. That's why some people feel stuck for years. They keep watching motivational videos, but never move. Knowledge becomes another form of entertainment. And eventually, they become inspired addicts. Always planning, never transforming. Because transformation requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice comfort, old habits, certain people, sometimes even your old identity. Growth is painful because you're killing an older version of yourself. And the old version fights back. That's why healing feels exhausting. That's why discipline feels unnatural in the beginning. Your mind always returns to familiar patterns, even toxic ones. Humans would rather stay in familiar pain than enter unfamiliar growth. That's why some people stay in toxic relationships, toxic environments, toxic routines. Not because they enjoy suffering. Because suffering became familiar, and familiarity feels safe. But eventually, your soul gets tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of shrinking yourself. Tired of abandoning your potential. And one day, something changes. Not dramatically. Quietly. You stop explaining yourself. Stop chasing validation. Stop needing approval.
you begin building silently. That's when real growth starts. Silent growth, the most dangerous phase, because nobody notices it immediately. No applause, no audience, no validation. Just you, rebuilding your mind brick by brick. And honestly, that phase changes everything. Because once you learn how to survive alone, the world loses control over you. Loneliness becomes peace. Discipline becomes identity. Pain becomes fuel.
And suddenly, the same person who once cried over being ignored becomes unstoppable. Not because life became easier, because they became stronger. That's the secret nobody tells you. Mental strength is built privately. Nobody sees the battles inside your head. Nobody sees the nights you force yourself not to quit. Nobody sees the moments you choose discipline over emotion. But those invisible decisions shape your destiny. One day, people will call you lucky. They'll never understand the years you spent fighting yourself in silence. And maybe that's okay, because the strongest transformations are never loud. They happen internally first. A shift in standards, a shift in mindset, a shift in identity. And identity changes everything. When you identify as weak, you search for excuses. When you identify as disciplined, If you constantly say, I'm broken, I'm unlucky, I can't change, your mind builds a prison around those words. But when you decide, I will rebuild myself no matter how long it takes, something powerful happens. Your mind starts searching for a new reality. That's the beginning of transformation. Not motivation. Decision. A real decision. The kind where you stop negotiating with your weaker self. Because your future is being created right now. In the habits nobody sees. In the discipline nobody praises. In the choices that feel small today. Remember this carefully. Your future self is watching everything you do. Every excuse, every delay, every promise you break to yourself. But also, every time you keep going while exhausted. Every time you stay disciplined despite pain. Every time you choose growth over comfort. That version of you is slowly being